Welcome back, piddling down with rain, 10 o'clock at night, and it's Wednesday. All I've done this week is trim that tube up. So the bracket on here is gone. I got burnt off this morning, and I cut off the last one. I actually cut that tube off there because I thought it'd be better if I did it that way, because it would be nice and square. However, that didn't work out that way because my bandsaw's blade needs changing. So what I did this time, there you go, I cut that in half and I got the tube off that way. And somebody in America in the 1970s couldn't weld, because they tried to weld that centerpiece up with an arc welder, and terrible job. So I ground it all down, and I've run a sanding belt over it as best as I could in reverse. I turned the belt inside out, put a wire brush on the end of a grinder and spun it in there, and nearly wrecked my grinder doing that, but it's a lot tidier than what it is now. So that one is being left full length at the moment. I was hoping to utilise that. However, the new bearing cup holders that I've ordered to be built, one is going to be about 8 inches long and the other one is going to be 5 to 6 inches long. So that means that leg might stick out too far, and I still may have to cut that one down. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to cut one of the, or both of the drive shafts. I don't actually know at the moment, but I guess we'll find out at a later date, won't we? I'm hoping I can whack one in at least and go with that. So what I might do is put the cup holders in position, put an axle stand, 2 axle stands underneath, under the back of here, so the belt was all lined up, yeah, and then what I might do is get that tube this side and put another axle stand under there, just holding it into position, and then put the shaft in and see if we can actually get that to connect up, but I don't think we will. I honestly think we may have to chop that sleeve down, but I am hoping that if I do have to chop it down, I don't have to chop the drive shaft down on that side, because I really don't want to do that. I don't even want to do this side, but I have no choice. You can see how deep these wheels are, and I want those wheels heads. I want these wheels to be as close as possible, sort of that, yeah, whatever, sort of, you know, like that. Because I don't want this any wider than it needs to be. However, if I was to use the Jag wheels, because they have less of a gap, I need to get this side. So the space from here to here is less on the Jag, I do believe, because they're a thinner wheel, which means I would have to shorten the shafts down, or I could bring them out wide. I don't really know at this point in time. I'm just waiting for the guy to ring me up to tell me that's all done and ready to come home. Woo, I nearly sounded wrong. Moving on. So yeah, that one is now about as ready as it's going to be. I wire brushed it back today, and I give it a little light sandblasting. I'm having troubles with my cabinet. I think what I need to do in my cabinet, apart from replace the glass I broke on it the other day, is I need to take that off and put a tap on there, because I noticed that when I had less air going in, I got 150 psi blowing through that, and I remember rightly about 80 psi, between 60 and 80, I was getting better results than I was with 150, and I put that down to the grit I'm using is a lot larger than regular sand, so it was picking it up easier at a low air pressure than it was at a higher air pressure. That's just my way of thinking anyway. So I believe it goes on that way. So yeah, we'll see where this ends up, won't we? Okay. So I need something to do today. Seat. I figured I might as well get that done, because at some point I will have to approach it. And I was going to do a nice long one, but I want some of that backrest showing, because I want to put a bracket on there for a top box for the backrest to go round. So no, I kind of decided against getting rid of that. And also at some point I may have to drop some A-frame bars from maybe on the inside edge bolts that stick through to hold the exhaust, because obviously there's nowhere to hold them. So there you go, something like that. So there's no point me filming anymore. I might as well now just get on with it, because the next bit, as I said, is the plate that goes underneath, and I can make that up in 10 seconds flat. Slight exaggeration, but you know what I mean. And the other bit to do is, well, I should really peel that off and throw it away, but I can't, because I have no more resin, and that's why it's the way it is, because I've ran out. Right, I know that that's going to be a bit high, but I also know that the bike at the back sits down a lot lower than what you can see it at the moment. However, that ain't straight. Even with a little bit more tilt on the back, I don't think that's going to straighten it up any more than it is. There's not much I could do with it. The only thing left that I can do, it's a Tourer. That's a big seat. Believe us, off a Harley of some description. Came off my other trike. That seat is so comfortable to sit on at the right angle, and we do have to drop the back half of this down a little bit anyway. Yes, to the question that you're probably scratching your head on, it don't fit properly, and yes, I'm going to have problems with side panels, so I'm going to have to make some new side panels. And so I'll cut a bit of triangle out of an old bit, and I'm going to try and glue that in, and I'll layer it underneath to build it up. Maybe trim around the outside edge, because it's too tight at the moment around that area, way too tight. Once the perspex, once the PVC go on, you see it's going to be so tight on that, it might not even fit properly after. So a little bit more trimming. I need a gap of about 5mm around that, I reckon, and we'll be good to go. And then here, because we're not just leaving it like that, because you'll see that through the material, whoever's upholstering, I'll cut some of that other stuff out I've got, and I'll glue it around that, but I won't glue it onto this, because I'm just not sure how that's going to take to it. I need to clean this muck off, get that nice and clean. How I'm going to do that, I don't know, but we'll glue it around there and across there. So basically where those black lines are, and then we'll go over the top of that. So I might put a piece over here and glue it into that edge, and then try and smooth it around over the top. There you go. Best I can get that. I think the rest of this is going to have to be left to a professional upholsterer. I tried to make this area here lump up a bit, but unfortunately it's actually pushed that down, so I don't know what to do about that at the moment. But yeah, I don't know what to do about it. Anyway, it's there, so the next stage is to turn it upside down and then get some glass fibre materials. Even managed to glue that bit, look. Get some glass fibre materials together and then glass the entire underside of that. I'm gonna, what I plan to do, if I haven't already said it, is clean film and tape all of this up, so when I've got the glass on, just as it hits its gel state, I'm then going to lay it down with some weight on it, and I'm hoping that it will stay in its natural position. And then once it's got hard, gently pull it off, and then we will have to wait until we can find a company that will take it on. Okie dokes. I think I'm going to call this video, but before we do, I'll show you the engineering that has come back, because finally got everything now. We can now start putting the axle together. Heads, pick your feet up, Sean. So there it all is. As you know, we cut all that metal off that's on the floor off, and I had some new components. Now these will go on the end of them. In the end, I just looked at what the guy had done on here, and I thought this is too good of a job to go and muck it up by putting those bloody things on. And I wasn't even sure if the bearing holders were going to be strong enough at this point. So I've had two of these made up. Got a short stubby one for this side, and I've got a longish one for that side, because I don't know how much tube I've got to play with. He also supplied me with the bearings and the seals. This seal goes in the end there to stop the oil in here from pouring out when it's rotating, and we've got these seals, and I decided to let him buy them, and then I pay him. So that's fully sealed up, so when they go on the end there, yeah, and this goes on the end there, the oil can flow through the inside into the tube and into here and lubricate anything else that needs to be lubricated up, but nothing will come out because it's sealed. The only thing left to do now is to cut the drive shafts to length, which is for another day, and we need a filler cap put on here somehow. I'm not sure how that's going to happen at the moment. This is such a heavy item. This acts as a flywheel in its own right, really. So I've got to find something that I can drill a hole and weld in. And I'm not sure what at the moment, because it can't come apart either. So I don't know how we're going to get around that. The only other way to fill this up with oil, see, would be to take the drive shaft out and push it in through there, which is not really ideal, let's be honest about it. All of the bolts are going to be sealed up with thread lock, so that should stop any oil from flowing, and anywhere else where oil can get, it will be a gasket. So we'll probably run a gasket around that edge there, probably put one on in there and so forth. So all I can do now is put an axle stand down, put that on an axle stand, and work out exactly where that is going to sit in relation to the belt. Then we can work out the depth of the wheel, cut the tube accordingly, allowing the extra width for the bearings, and then we can push press that together for the time being at least, and we can then, because that one's getting welded onto this, we can then weld that on with it on the axle stand once I've levelled everything out, and then we can move on to the other side, which is going to have some brackets made. So I'll get my hole saw out for this and make some brackets, because I want to fix it, bolt it to there, and then we've got to get some rose joints, which I have already got actually, and make some linkage bars so as we can hold all of this in position. And then at a later date I will have to get my hands on some U-bolts as well, to weld onto that to stop this from flying off if something should go wrong, because we just don't know, do we, at the end of the day. So he's sleeved this up, brazed the sleeve in, that's solid. So the shaft will fit that now, hopefully. I haven't checked yet to see, but well, that'd be funny if that don't fit. Look at that! Perfect. So that's the one that's going to get cut down. I don't know if that's the one for that side, but someone's painted paint. One's blue, the other one's got green or yellow on the other side, so I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. So then this has all got to go back because this thing got to be shortened. And we're only doing one side, if I can help it. I'm hoping that the other side will pull close enough to the framework where the shaft will fit without any issues whatsoever, and I don't have to shorten it. But if I do have to shorten it, then I have to shorten it. Unfortunately, I can't finish the seat off at the moment because we're a little broke. I have just had to pay for all of that work to be done, and that's drained me out. And a bike I've got here, I've been trying to get a key for that, and what I got quoted 25 quid for, I now want 100 quid. Just got to come from Austria, so that's kind of screwed me up. Never mind, because we're planning on doing a CBT this year, and I'm putting a 125 on the road, possibly, if I can ride it without getting cramp in my hip. That's an old age thing, isn't it? That's got to be. Right, that is it. So the next video, this is what you're going to see. So this is a quick short video. I will try and cut the footage down on the seat as much as I possibly can to make it as less boring, so hopefully you've watched that. And that's, you know, it's got your juices flowing. If you're wondering why there's a lump here, a dip, that ain't meant to be there. This was meant to be raised up so it looks like a saddle, you know, like a horse saddle, and it didn't quite go right. So I'm kind of hoping that the whoever I can use to cover this, and they may end up tearing that off anyway and putting something a bit thinner on, because this has gone hard to sit on all of a sudden. I don't know if I like that. So if I can find me some thinner foam, that would be great. And They've got the old seat cover to duplicate from, but they'll have to add some stuff to it. Right, I am going to get on now, and this will be a new video for you after this one. So thank you for the likes and shares, and if you've just recently registered, again, thank you very much. I hope this meets your expectations, and I'll see you on the next one.